Hi everybody, thank you for joining us today. My name is Joe Sarnie and I'm here in Germany with Luke and Bethany Snell. They're missionaries here in Ingelheim.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
Ingelheim. Okay, I'm still learning on how to pronounce things here. I've only been here for 3 days, so appreciate you guys' patience with me. But what brought you guys out here to Germany?
Well, it's a lot of different things, and our story kind of intertwines between my wife and I. So I'll go and let my wife start with that. So go ahead.
So I grew up just like 10 minutes down the road from the Baptist Wind Missions Global Ministry Center. And because of that, I had a lot of interaction with missionaries as a kid. And even in high school, that's the direction that I wanted to go. The Lord had been working in my heart, and I really had an interest in missions. So when I went off to college, to Bible school, my goal was to eventually go into missions. And at college, the choir from my school did a trip to Germany and the Netherlands. And so I was able to go on that trip, and I just fell in love with Germany, fell in love with the people here, and just was really excited about the ministry that was going on here, and just thought this would be a great place. This is really where the Lord was directing my heart. But then some things happened. I graduated from college, and different things happened in my life where that dream or that desire kind of got put on the shelf. And there were a few years there I thought, maybe the Lord doesn't have missions for me. It just didn't seem to be working out the right way. And but Germany kind of stayed in my heart, and that was always something that I kept in the back of my mind. I thought maybe someday I could get there. And then a couple of years later, I met Luke, and you can take the story from there.
Yeah, so I came to college a little bit after Bethany. And I got involved in the chorale and got to know Bethany through music groups, and we were in the orchestra together, and we did a lot of stuff together. And then the opportunity came to go to Europe with the chorale again. They did the trip every 3 years. And I was open to ministry at that time. I was planning on being a pastor or being involved in a youth group or something along those lines, music ministry. But the idea of missions really wasn't something that was on my radar. But I think part of that was at that time, I really hadn't had a chance to go visit any mission fields. I was always just in the States, and I figured that's what God would have for me. So I really, in preparation for the trip with the chorale, I really, realized that if God was going to be calling me to the mission field, this is probably my only chance to really see a foreign field. I couldn't imagine myself having many more opportunities after that. So as I was raising support to go, I just asked all my people, all the churches that were supporting me and all my family members, just to be praying that if God would be leading me to missions, that He would really use the trip in that way to really work upon my heart and make that clear. And as we flew over and then we landed, and as we got off the plane, I really was just impressed by how the culture was over here in Germany. We started at the Netherlands and then went over to Germany, and throughout the trip, what really impressed me was the churches, getting to know the people, being able to stay in their homes. And our program that year was focused upon the words of Jesus that talked about discipleship and what it meant to be a disciple of Christ. And the Lord really used those texts of Scripture, whoever desires to be my disciple, let him take up his cross, deny himself, and follow me. And one song, how it was arranged, it really emphasized the phrase, deny yourself, deny yourself, deny yourself. And eventually just kind of struck through during one of our concerts that that's something that I needed to do. That if God wanted me to be in ministry, if I was a follower of Christ, that meant to be open to everything and allow God to really work and direct wherever He wanted me to be, and not having me be in the driver's seat. I needed to deny myself. And I remember after one of the concerts just really feeling burdened, convicted, getting away, getting alone with the Lord, and just making that prayer and commitment over to God, that I would be obedient, that I would follow Him wherever He would lead me, whether that be in the States or coming back over here in Germany. And at that time, Bethany and I had just started dating, and that's kind of a hot thing in Bible college, or a tough situation when you feel the Lord leading you a certain way. I remember having good friends who I thought would sure get married, ended up breaking up because one felt they were being a missionary, one felt like they weren't supposed to be a missionary, and So I remember sitting down with Bethany on the bus while we were traveling and just kind of shared with how the Lord had been working in my heart. And actually asked her at that point in time, we never really talked about it before, if she ever thought about being a missionary in Germany before. And of course she said, yeah, absolutely. Last time I was here, the Lord had a similar type of, did a similar type of work in my heart. And it was just kind of neat, you know, after that trip, we came back, we continued to pray about it, we continued to seek the Lord's will. We ended up getting married and just continued to trust the Lord. And the Lord opened up another opportunity a couple of years later for us to travel again with the chorale, but this time more with chaperones. And for me, that was really important to get a second look at the field, just to make sure that that was, you know, I wasn't just fascinated by the culture or just the experience, but this was really something that the Lord had in view for us as a married couple at that time. And through that second trip, the Lord just really showed us that we were fit for what was going on over here in Germany in particular. And we met with Baptist Missions afterwards, talked with our home pastor there at Ankeny Baptist, and the Lord just continued to confirm and open doors, and then we started the deputation process to come here. I'd just say one of the things that really kind of impressed me, thinking back on our testimonies, just seeing how God worked in both of our lives separately, really kind of challenged my wife first of all, and then me later on, without really even kind of comparing notes, just seeing how the call of God and the work of God in our lives to missions, and specifically here in Germany, it just really was evident that it was of the Lord, and we're really thankful for that clear leading there. So there were some other rabbit trails we could have taken, but the short story that's kind of the short story of how God led us here and brought us here to Germany.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know for me, one of the foreign cultures that I was privileged to have the experience with was living on Guam. And I guess what I thought was, oh yeah, the beaches are great. You know, that's like the honeymoon stage. But what kept me there was the people, the culture, and I just felt like God was using me over there on that island. And I'm sure it's like some of you guys, like you were saying, how you just fell in love with the people out here when you were visiting, the culture, and you just felt God's clear peace in a sense, right? Like just coming out here to Germany. So what would you say is the culture here in Germany in regards to Christianity? Mm-hmm. How does that look here?
Yeah, Christianity has a rich history over here in Europe, and in particular Germany. And you think through like the Reformation and Luther and all the things that he did. Even the Catholic Church has a lot of rich history here in Germany. There's cathedrals, there's a church in every town. But in reality, that faith or those churches today are really more of just community centers within these towns. They're focal points of tradition, but there's really not much faith tied to it. Here in Germany, the two state churches are the Roman Catholic Church and the Lutheran Church, and most people who say they're a part of these churches say they're a part of these churches just in name only, but really don't really know what their church actually teaches or believes. They might know some things and some of the stories about some of the saints and things like that, but have it actually be their heart conviction is not common. And so when we end up talking with a lot of our neighbors, we kind of have a hurdle right to begin with, because a lot of people think that they're already okay. They're already a part of a church. They're already connected into the community that way. They're doing everything that is expected of them and as what their church believes and faith. Yeah,
5 generations.
Exactly, right? But not really have any clue what the Bible actually teaches about what salvation is and who Jesus is and what the gospel really is. So there's that hurdle right to begin with, to kind of just share with them and share with the people here. There's more than just a strong traditional base here with what the Christianity has given here in Western civilization for these thousands of years. There's actually a God and a person that you can know personally, and that personal relationship is what really a lot of the people don't understand. And it's really hard to show them that when they already feel that they are good. And Germany is also a wealthy country. As far as the European states go, countries go, they're one of the major economic powerhouses. And so there's not a lot of need, even physically. And so the idea of them, because they're not recognizing a physical need, even then it's even harder to kind of convince them, you are in need. There is a need that Christ can fulfill there. Yeah, there's some hurdles, but we're very thankful for the opportunities that God has given us.
So you guys have a church that you're serving at in Engelheim. Tell me about your ministry. Tell me about your church.
Sure. Would you want to start, or?
Sure.
Okay. I talked a lot of the last ones.
So we are church planters. So our goal is to start churches here in Germany. And this church actually started, we started with our coworkers, Ted and Becky Fletchall. And they kind of got the group started as a Bible study. And we came along just as they were getting ready to actually form as a church. And so we were able to get there right at that point in time and have the joy of seeing the church actually officially started. And so that was really neat. We kind of went through the process of putting together a doctrinal statement and going through all the church bylaws and all that kind of stuff. And then we were able to have a special service to officially start the church. And on that day, we actually had 4 people that were baptized that had never been baptized before. And so that was a really exciting day. And we really appreciated Ted and Becky and the work that they did to really kind of get things rolling and then be able to come in for that time. That was really neat. And so, so our church is small, but we're growing, and we love our church. Our people are great. They love the Lord, and they're learning and growing and serving.
Yeah, so we had that founding service in June 2021, and really the past 4 or 5 years or so, we've just really enjoyed getting to know the people of the church and building relationships with them. And, I would say, when you think about church plants, obviously, I don't know what we actually expected, but I kind of, in my mind, thought, we would show up and then the church would explode and we'd have to get all these new buildings and be thinking about all these numbers. And I will say that hasn't happened. And that is discouraging at times, because you have all these expectations and you want to see the Lord work. But I really do think that a lot of what we're doing here at this point in time, and the fruit that we've seen, has really still been with the core group of people that the Lord has brought together at that time. Seeing their faith grow, and even kind of our trust amongst ourselves as a church grow, and to be strengthened, and how we are to be treating one another, and how we're to be interacting with one another. And we've seen more people come as of late, and some people go as of late. It's kind of an influx of people coming and people going, but we're really trying to lay a good foundation, and we're really trying to be intentional more and more about making personal connections with people through clubs or through sports or through our hobbies, really build relationships with them to be able to share Christ with them. I mentioned, some of the challenges of the hurdles that we have when we first meet somebody. It's also kind of a hurdle when they find out we're missionaries over in Germany, because it's the question like, we already have churches over here. And we don't need water, and their perception of what a missionary is kind of twisted.
They feel like they don't have a need.
And then we're kind of on top of that, okay, you're a missionary here, then they automatically assume that we're like part of a cult or something very odd. So we've really kind of, we really see that it's important to show people that we're genuine, that we're here we're here that they know Christ and that they get saved. That's obviously our goal, but we want to really show them that we really do care about them personally. We do love them personally. We want to befriend them truly and genuinely. And when the German people make a friend, they really do make a friend, and it really sticks. It takes a while, but to really gain that trust and build that friendship is really, really important. And that just takes time. So we're really praying, our perspective is, while the church may not explode and in the 5 years' time or even the next 3 years' time, we're really trying to play the long game and say, well, okay, we're here for 20, 25 years, maybe longer, however the Lord has us here, to really plant a church that's going to last and is going to be grounded in God's Word, and to be a healthy church that functions properly and glorifies the Lord is really kind of our heartbeat and burden as church planters.
And I've seen your heart for your congregation today. I had the privilege to visit their church this morning, and then after we had a young adult fellowship for lunch, and it was so much fun, just meeting people, meeting everyone else, flying the drone. Maybe we'll show a shot here. But it really friendly people, and I had a great time just interacting with them today. So how can we pray for you guys? You kind of said that already. Is there anything specifically that we can pray for you guys back in the States? How can we help support you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, so Luke talked about how growth is slow in Germany and a lot of European countries. It takes time, takes building relationships, but we would love to see our church grow. And so that's a big prayer request, is just to see more families come and join our church. At this time right now, our two sons are the only kids at the church. So that's one of our big prayer requests, that we would see a new family come with kids, especially, that we can build our children's program. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing.
The prayer request is that we see people be saved, and that we see people come to Christ. And as far as us personally, just remaining encouraged in the Lord and what He's called us to do. Sometimes it's very discouraging when you're trying and you're studying and you're putting in sermons and you're trying to connect with people and things just never seem to be working out. It can be discouraging at times. So just be praying also that we'd remain encouraged in what the Lord has us to do, faithful in the work that He's placed before us. I will say, as far as a little bit of a bigger picture outside of our church, we're very thankful being a part of this team with Baptist Missions. And in the past, the team was a lot bigger. And there was a lot of advantages to that. We're in a region that's kind of not necessarily new with Baptist Missions. Ted and Becky were here for a while, but the majority of the team was more in the state of Bavaria, and we're in the state of Rhineland-Pfalz. And they had a group of about 4 or 5 missionary units that were able to do a lot together and be able to kind of create a fellowship of churches that today is being led by national pastors and are supporting one another to be planting more churches from them. And what's neat about what's going on in Bavaria right now, and we're really excited about and seeing, is that the Germans are planting these churches now from these Baptist Missions church plants. And they've really kind of taken the ball and run, and they work together at it, and they're happy to do it. Right now, we're the only team member of Baptist Missions out here in Rhineland-Pfalz. Mm-hmm. And our burden and our heart is to kind of see the Lord work in a similar way over here in this area. But what that really means is that we really need more workers, and we really need more church planters and people who are committed to coming over here and reaching people with the gospel and establishing that type of thing and being a part of that type of team to work that type of ministry. And so our prayer request is that people would come and that people would see the need, see the burden of, or see the need over here in Germany and join us in our work. We're really praying that the Lord would send more laborers to the field over here.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely be praying for you guys, and it's been a privilege. I'm still brand new here at BMM. I've been here for about, how long has it been? 7 months now, and it's just been awesome being able to meet missionaries on the front line, and it's just encouraging for me seeing just your faith shine and your love for the Lord and your hospitality. It's been a privilege for me and my coworker and friend Morgan behind the camera over here. Well, thank you guys so much. I had a privilege with this interview. Fun fact, you guys are my first ones I've ever interviewed.
Wow.
So, I hope I did good. Hope you guys liked the interview, and feel free to reach out to them if you have any questions or if you'd like to connect with them about their ministry. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.